There is a small bundle of dried leaves hanging by my kitchen window. It hangs from a bit of string, just where the morning light comes through, and when the breeze moves it, I can smell it from across the room. Green and clean and a little bitter, like the field after rain. It cost me nothing. The plant grows wild along every road in my village, the kind of humble weed a busy person steps right over without a single glance. But on the nights my knees ache from the coming rain, I take a good handful of it and I drop it into a warm bath. And by the morning, I will tell you the truth, I move like a younger woman. My name is Keiko. I was born in Ogimi, a small village in the north of Okinawa that the newspapers like to call the Village of Long Life. My mother lived to 104, her mother longer still. I have grown my own food and made my own small medicines from this same garden for 50 years now, and in all that time I have never once taken a pill to help me sleep, nor to quiet an aching joint at the end of a long day. Now, here is the part I would like you to sit with for a moment. The old women here have dropped this same plant into the bath water for longer than anyone can remember, longer than the records go back. But you will not find it in the bottle the pharmacy sells you for $30, the pretty jar of bath salts with the bright label, or the little box of pills that promises sleep. There is no money in a weed that grows free at the edge of the road, so no one ever thinks to tell you about the weed. Stay with me. By the end of this you will know exactly what this plant is, how to gather it and dry it by your own window, and 2 simple ways to use it in your bath tonight. And it will not cost you a single dollar. But first, let me tell you the one thing most people get wrong, because if you do not understand this, none of the rest will help you. And I must say it plainly, the way my mother would want me to. This is not a cure. I am not a doctor, and I have never claimed to be one. If you take medicine, you keep taking it, and you talk to your doctor. This is the old way, beside the new. Never instead of it. What it will do is something gentler and older, and I think you have been waiting a long time for someone to simply sit down and show you. So let me tell you what the plant is, because you may already have it growing in the cracks of your own pavement and never knew its name. In Japan we call it yomogi. Here on Okinawa, the old women call our own kind of it fuchiba. The rest of the world has a plainer name for it, mugwort. It is nothing grand. A roadside plant, a garden weed, silver green on the underside of the leaf, growing thick and free in every neglected corner where no one has thought to pull it. You have walked past it 1,000 times. You have stepped over it on your way to somewhere you thought was more important. And yet, for hundreds of years, the people of these islands have made a quiet treasure of this very weed. We have eaten it, pounded into a soft green rice cake we call kusamochi, the kind the children beg for at the New Year, sweet and grassy and green right through. We have used it in the old burning practice the elders call okyu, the moxibustion, and we have steeped the dried leaf in the hot bath, in a soak the old people simply call yomogi-yu, the mugwort bath. My grandmother had a bundle of it hanging in her kitchen just as I do now, and her mother before her, going back further than anyone bothered to count. It is one of those small things that was simply always there, passed from old hands to younger hands without ceremony, the way you might be handed a recipe or a saying. That is the thing I want to give you tonight, the mugwort bath, yomogi-yu. But understand me well, because here is the part most people get backwards, and it is the most important thing I will say to you. They hear of an old herb, and they imagine it must be doing some powerful secret thing to the body. They imagine it pulls poisons out, or melts away the years, or cures what ails them from the inside. I will be honest with you, the way I promised. It does none of that. A mugwort bath does not detox you. It does not melt fat. It does not pull poison from your blood, and it does not cure a single disease. Anyone who tells you otherwise is selling you something. So please do not lower your old body into that water, expecting a miracle. What it does is simpler and kinder and far more honest than any miracle. Let me tell you what it truly does, and then you will understand why I love it so. Most of the good, I must admit, is the warm water itself. Think of it. You lower your tired body into warm water at the end of a long day. The warmth reaches into the muscles you have been holding tight all day without even knowing it. The shoulders pulled up toward the ears, the jaw, the small of the back, and one by one they let go. The stiff, aching joints, the knees, the hands, the old shoulder that never quite forgave the years, they ease in the heat the way a cold hinge eases when you warm it. The warm water relaxes the tired muscles, and it soothes the stiff joints, and it asks nothing of you but to be still in it. That alone is a gift. You did not need a weed to feel that. You needed only the warm water and 20 quiet minutes, and most people never give themselves even that much. And then the green scent of the mugwort rises with the steam. It is a calming smell, a quieting one, and it settles the busy mind towards sleep, the way the smell of the garden settles a fretful child. There is something in a green and bitter scent that tells the old body the day is done, and the bath is gentle on the skin, soft and a little soothing, the way a herbal soak has always been. That is what the herb adds, and that is all it adds. It does not work some secret magic in the blood. It makes the warm soak softer and greener and sweeter, and it gives you a reason to sit in the water long enough to let the day go. The warm water does most of the work. The quiet does the rest. The mugwort simply makes it lovely. And lovely, I have learned in 76 years, is reason enough to do a thing. Now, let me tell you how to do it, because it is so simple that the simplicity is almost the whole point. There are 2 ways, and both are easy enough for old hands like mine. The first way is the lazy way, and it is the one I use most often, because at my age I have earned the lazy way. You take a good double handful of the dried mugwort. You tie it into a little cotton bag. Or, if you have no bag, an old clean pillowcase will do, tied at the neck with string, or even a clean cotton sock, knotted shut. Anything that lets the water through but keeps the leaves from scattering all through your tub, for there is nothing lovely about fishing wet leaves out of the drain afterward, I promise you that. Then you simply lower that little bundle into the warm bath and let it float there with you, while the water draws the green out of the leaves. That is the whole of it. The bundle steeps like a great soft tea bag, the water slowly turning from clear to the palest green, and you soak in the colour and the scent it gives. I like to give it a squeeze now and then, with my old fingers, the way you would press a tea bag, to coax a little more of the green out into the water. The second way takes a little more trouble, but it gives a stronger, darker bath, and on a hard night it is worth it. You take your dried mugwort and you put it in a pot of water on the stove, and you let it simmer gently for 10 to 15 minutes, no more. The water will turn the colour of strong tea, dark and fragrant, and the whole kitchen will smell of the field. Then you strain the leaves out, and you pour that dark, fragrant tea straight into your bath water. It is the same idea as the bundle, only you have coaxed the plant a little harder, and the bath comes out deeper and greener for it. And now I must give you the caution that matters more than all the rest, and please listen to me as you would listen to your own grandmother. Let the water be warm, comfortable, the temperature you would happily rest in for a while, not scalding, not as hot as you can stand it. I know the temptation. A hard, hot bath feels like it is doing more. But a very hot bath is hard on the heart and hard on the blood pressure, and it can leave you dizzy and weak when you stand. So keep it warm, not hot. If you feel lightheaded or dizzy at any moment, you get out of that water, slowly, and you sit down. If you have any trouble with your heart, or your blood pressure, or if you are under a doctor's care for anything at all, or if you are carrying a child, you ask your doctor first, before you ever do this. And if your skin is sensitive, you try just a little of the mugwort first, in a small way, and see how your skin likes it before you make a whole bath of it. Beside your doctor, child, never instead. I will say that as many times as it takes for you to believe I mean it. As for how long to soak, 15 minutes, perhaps 20, is plenty. There is no prize for staying longer. Now, if you have no mugwort growing near you, you can buy the dried yomogi very cheaply. A bag of it costs almost nothing and lasts a long while. But if you would like to gather your own, the way I do, let me show you how, for it is half the pleasure. You go looking for the mugwort in a garden or along a quiet roadside, but you must choose your spot with care. Gather it well away from any place that may have been sprayed with chemicals, and well away from the edge of a busy road where the exhaust of the cars settles on the leaves all day. You want clean ground, a forgotten corner, a field nobody troubles with. You cut a good bundle of it, the leaves and the soft stems together. Then you tie it with a bit of string and hang it upside down in an airy place out of the sun. A shaded porch, a corner of the kitchen, the back of a quiet room, anywhere the air moves a little and the bright light does not bleach the green out of it. And you leave it there. You do not rush it. You leave it to hang until it is crisp and dry, until a leaf crumbles to dust between your fingers, which on a dry breeze may take a week or two. There is no hurry in any of this. That is rather the point of it. Then you store it away in a glass jar with a lid, or simply a paper bag, somewhere dry and dark, and it will keep for the better part of a year. That is the little bundle that hangs by my own kitchen window, the one I told you about at the start. Gathered free from clean ground, dried slowly in the shade, and waiting there patiently for the night my old knees tell me the rain is coming. I want to stop here a moment and tell you something honest, because I owe you the truth more than I owe you a pretty story. I thought this was just an old story for years. When I was younger, busy with my own children, my own washing, my own garden to mind, I thought the bath was only an old woman's habit, a fond and useless thing the grandmothers did because they had always done it. I would watch my mother set her bundle of leaves to steep in the evening, and I would think, in the way the young are so sure of themselves, that it was nothing but sentiment. I did not believe it did a single thing. And then one winter my own knees began to ache the way I had watched hers ache, deep and cold, the kind of ache that wakes you in the small hours. And one tired night I dropped a handful of the leaves into the bath, not because I believed in it, but simply because she had, and she was gone by then, and I missed her, and it was a way of having her near. The kitchen filled with that green smell that was the smell of her whole life. And I sat in the warm water in the dark, and something in me let go, and I slept. I slept the way I had not slept in weeks, and I woke easier in the body and easier in the heart. It was not magic. I understand now. It was the warm water, and the quiet, and the rest, far more than the plant itself. But the plant was the thing that finally made me sit down in that water and stay and stop and let the whole long day fall away from me. Sometimes that is all an old remedy truly is. Not a cure hidden in a leaf, but a good and gentle reason to be still. We have forgotten how to be still. The old women never did. There was a woman in my village named Tsuru who lived to 102. She was a tiny thing, bent like a comma in her last years, with hands knotted and brown from a lifetime kneeling in the soil. And Tsuru swore by the mugwort bath for her knees. She would have me know it too every time I passed her gate. Every few evenings, all through the damp seasons when the cold gets into the joints, she would set her bundle of dried fuchiba to steep in the warm water, and she would soak a good long while, and she would tell anyone who would listen that it was the only thing that let her kneel down among her vegetable rows again the next morning. I do not say it healed her knees. Nothing healed Tsuru's knees. They were the knees of 100 years of work. I say it eased her enough to keep going, to kneel one more morning and plant one more row, year after year, into her second century, and that easing, that being able to go on a little longer in the life you love, that is worth more than any cure that was never coming anyway. We do not always need to be made new. Sometimes we only need to be eased enough to carry on. This is the hurried world's mistake, you see, and I say it without anger, because no one ever showed them better. The hurried world swallows a pill to chase the ache away. It wants the ache gone now, this minute, with no trouble and no waiting. And here we lower the old body into warm green water, and we let the ache loosen on its own, in its own slow time. One way treats the body like a machine to be fixed, the other tends it like a garden. Both have their place, I will grant you that. When the pain is real and sharp, you take what the doctor gives you. But for the small daily aches of a long life, for the stiff morning and the restless night, the warm green water has tended me far better and far gentler than anything in a bottle ever could. And let me say the plain thing about that bottle, because it is the soft truth no one prints on the bright label. The bath salts on the pharmacy shelf cost $30 and run out in a month. The little box of pills to help you sleep costs more, and brings its own troubles in the morning. The mugwort grows free at the edge of the road, and a summer's gathering will last you through the whole winter. There is no money in a weed, so no one tells you about the weed. I do not blame the shop, and I do not blame the doctor with his 12 minutes. They are not bad people. They were simply never taught what the old women of my village knew in their hands, and never had to be told. So let me gather it all into your hand now simply, the way I would tell it to a daughter. The plant is mugwort, yomogi-yu, fuchiba, a free roadside weed. You can buy it dried for almost nothing, or gather and dry your own from clean ground, hung in the shade until it crumbles. To use it, you have 2 ways. Tie a good double handful of the dry leaves in a cotton bag or an old clean pillowcase and float it in the bath like a great soft tea bag. Or simmer the leaves in a pot for 10 or 15 minutes, strain it and pour the dark green tea into the water. Keep the water warm and comfortable, never scalding. Soak 15 or 20 minutes. Get out if you feel dizzy. And if your heart or your pressure trouble you, or you are with child or under a doctor's care, you ask first. That is the whole of it, no magic, no miracle. Just the warm water, the quiet, and the green scent of an old plant to make the soak lovely and carry you towards sleep. We did not live long by accident, and we did not live long by chasing every ache with a bottle either. We lived long by tending the old body gently, every day, with the small free things the earth gave us for nothing, and by understanding, the way my mother understood, that most of healing is simply rest and warmth, and the patience to let the body do what it already wants to do. Come back and sit with me again, and I will show you the 1 small spoonful I stir into a cup of warm water every morning before the sun is fully up. The simple thing the women of my family have begun nearly every day of their long lives with, and the quiet reason our mornings start so gently. It is the natural next step after today. Until then, be gentle with your old body, and be patient with it. And remember, the old women of Okinawa, who lived past 100 with a garden and a kettle, and no doctor at all, knew things the world is only just beginning to remember. Come and sit with me again soon.